The screen showed story 29, and then the screaming started. Not from the speakers. From behind the door. At 3:17 a.m. on a cold night in 2026, the final animation in the folder titled Top 29 True Horror Stories Animated, Compilation of 2026, finished rendering on Ryan Miller's computer. The progress bar hit 100%. The room lights flickered. And the sound of a child crying came from the hallway of his apartment, soft at first, then louder, like it was learning how to be heard. Ryan froze in his chair. He lived alone. The crying stopped. Footsteps followed. Slow. Careful. Right up to his door. Then a voice whispered, clear as day, "Play it." The door handle turned. And the screen changed by itself. It opened a new file labeled Bonus Story, Do Not Watch. Ryan reached for the power button. And the power went out. 3 months earlier, none of this existed yet. Ryan Miller was a video editor in Oregon who worked from home. In early 2026, he was hired by a small channel to make a long horror video. The idea was simple: collect true horror stories from across the United States and animate them into one massive compilation. People love compilations, the email said. Top 29. True stories only. Ryan liked the number. It felt complete. He began collecting stories from emails, forums, old police reports, and voice messages sent in by viewers. Most were normal scary things: creepy neighbors, strange noises, people feeling watched. Some were sad. Some were fake. But 29 of them were different. They all had proof. Audio clips. Photos. Timestamps. Police calls. And they all happened in 2026. The first story came from a woman named Laura Jenkins in Ohio. She sent a voice message saying her baby monitor played breathing sounds when no one was in the room. The recording proved it. Ryan animated it. It became story 1. The second came from Marcus Hill in Arizona. His security camera showed a tall shadow standing behind his car every night at 2:11 a.m. It vanished when he looked directly at it. Ryan animated that too. As Ryan worked, small things began to change. His computer clock drifted. Files moved on their own. Sometimes, when he paused an animation, the characters kept moving for half a second longer than they should have. He told himself it was stress. By story 7, he noticed a pattern. Every story ended at the same timestamp. 3:17 a.m. He checked the messages again. The times were real. By story 12, he stopped working at night. By story 18, he started hearing sounds in his apartment that matched the stories he was animating. A knock that matched story 5. A whisper that sounded exactly like story 9. He almost quit. Then story 21 arrived. It was an email with no sender name and no subject. Inside was a single sentence. "If you finish all 29, it will finish watching you." Ryan laughed it off. He was tired. People liked to scare editors. But the next morning, his door was scratched. 29 thin lines ran down the wood. He kept going. Story 24 came from Emily Rogers, a park ranger who said hikers vanished when they followed voices calling their names. She sent a map. The disappearances lined up in a perfect curve. Story 26 was from Daniel Brooks, a police dispatcher who recorded a 911 call that came from a house burned down 10 years earlier. Story 28 arrived last. It had no message. Only a video file. When Ryan played it, the video showed his apartment hallway. Live. He slammed the laptop shut. That night he dreamed of a dark room with rows of screens. Each screen played one of the stories. Something stood behind the screens, counting. When he woke up, the file for story 29 was waiting on his desktop. He didn't remember downloading it. The story was short. Too short. It was about a man who edited horror videos late at night. As he finished a compilation, the stories began to visit him. The final line read, "This is the last one he needs." Ryan's hands shook as he animated it. He told himself it was just someone playing a trick. He finished the edit and exported the full video. That brought him back to now. 3:17 a.m. The crying behind the door had stopped. The hallway was silent. On the screen, the bonus story file opened. The animation began. It showed Ryan sitting at his desk. Exactly as he was now. The animated Ryan turned and looked at the camera. Then he looked straight at the real Ryan. "Every story is a door," the animated Ryan said. "You open 29. Behind the animated Ryan, shadows filled the room. Faces from the other stories pressed against the walls. Laura's baby monitor hiss, Marcus's tall shadow, Emily's forest shapes. The real Ryan stood up and backed away. The lights flickered back on. His apartment door was open. The hallway outside was dark, longer than it should be. Footsteps echoed from the far end. On the screen, the animated Ryan smiled sadly. "You were never just the editor," he said. "You were story 29. The computer speakers crackled. The crying returned, right behind Ryan this time. He turned slowly. Something stood in the doorway, made of moving shadows and half-formed faces, each one familiar, each one borrowed from a different story. It lifted a hand. The screen flashed white. And the compilation timer began counting backward. The countdown on the screen moved backward. 28. 27. 26. Each number appeared with a soft clicking sound, like a lock turning. Ryan stumbled back and hit the wall. The thing in the doorway did not rush him. It waited. Its body shifted slowly, like smoke trying to remember its shape. Faces appeared and faded across it, faces Ryan recognized from the stories he had animated. A woman holding a baby monitor. A man standing by a car. A hiker looking over his shoulder in fear. "You opened us," the thing said in many voices at once. "Now we close around you." Ryan shook his head. "I didn't do anything. I just told the stories." The thing tilted its head. "Stories are doors." The screen showed story 28 replaying. The hallway camera footage. The moment when the shadow appeared behind the camera. Ryan's own hallway. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He jumped. With shaking hands, he pulled it out. There was a new message. No sender. No number. Just text. Story 22 is watching. Ryan looked up. The hallway outside his apartment stretched longer than it should have. The lights were off, but a faint glow came from the far end. He heard breathing. Slow and careful. He ran. Ryan slammed his apartment door shut and locked it, even though the thing was already inside. He grabbed his laptop and rushed to the kitchen, heart pounding. The screen changed again. Now it showed a list. All 29 stories. But next to each title was a word. Story 1 open. Story 2 open. Story 3 open. All the way down. Story 29 active. Ryan realized the truth. The stories were not just being told. They were being let out. He remembered the warning message. If you finish all 29, it will finish watching you. The laptop speakers crackled. Some stories want to be remembered, the voices said. Others want to be continued. The apartment lights flickered. The kitchen clock blinked and reset. 3:17 a.m. Again. Ryan backed toward the window. Snow was falling outside, even though it hadn't been snowing earlier. The street below was empty. Too empty. "Why me?" Ryan shouted. "Why an editor?" The thing moved closer. Its shape became clearer now. Tall. Thin. Made of moving darkness and glowing outlines. "Because you watched them all," it said. "You believed them enough to give them life." The screen showed story 5. A man hearing knocks from inside his walls. Ryan heard the knock. Once. Twice. From his own wall. He screamed and threw the laptop to the floor. The screen cracked, but the sound did not stop. "Stop!" Ryan yelled. "I won't do it anymore." The thing paused. Then closed the doors. it said. Ryan looked at the broken laptop. How? The screen repaired itself, the cracks sealing like skin. A new menu appeared. Select a story to close. Ryan scrolled frantically. Story titles flashed by. Laura Jenkins, Marcus Hill, Emily Rogers. He clicked Story 1. The baby monitor story. The animation played in reverse. The breathing faded. The monitor went silent. The word open changed to closed. In the apartment, a sound stopped. The knocking faded. Ryan clicked Story 2. The shadow behind the car dissolved. The camera feed went blank. Another sound stopped. The thing hissed softly. You can't close them all, it said. There is not enough time. The countdown resumed. 17. 16. Ryan's hands flew. He closed Story 3. Then Story 4. Each time, the apartment felt lighter. Quieter. But with every story closed, the thing grew angrier. The faces in its body twisted, pulling forward like they wanted to escape. You need them, it growled. They belong to winter. To darkness. To fear. Ryan stopped. What happens if I close them all? The thing smiled. Then there is no compilation. Ryan understood. If the compilation never existed, either would Story 29. Neither would this. He clicked faster. Story 11, closed. Story 12, closed. Story 13, closed. The apartment shook. Cracks formed in the walls, showing brief flashes of other places: forests, houses, empty roads. The thing screamed as Story 21 closed. That one was mine! The countdown hit 5. Ryan reached Story 28. The live hallway footage. He hesitated. If he closed it, the thing might disappear. Or something worse might happen. The hallway camera showed the thing standing behind him now. In real time. Ryan didn't look back. He clicked close. The hallway footage went black. The apartment went silent. The thing roared, its shape breaking apart into shadows that slammed against the walls. 3. 2. Ryan reached for Story 29. His own story. His finger hovered. What happens to me? He whispered. The thing spoke weakly now. You were always part of it. Ryan took a deep breath and clicked. Story 29 closed. The countdown hit 0. Everything stopped. The lights came back on. The apartment returned to normal. The thing was gone. Ryan collapsed to the floor, shaking and laughing and crying at the same time. The laptop screen went dark. Then one final message appeared. 29 stories closed. Ryan stayed there until the sun came up. Days passed. Nothing strange happened. The channel uploaded the video, but something was wrong. The compilation only had 28 stories. People commented, confused. Wasn't this supposed to be 29? Feels like something's missing. Ryan never replied. He quit editing horror. He moved out of the apartment. He tried to forget. But one night, months later, his phone buzzed at 3:17 a.m. A message appeared. No sender. Just text. New submission received. And beneath it, a file name. Story 30. Ryan stared at the screen as his lights flickered. Somewhere, a door was opening again. Ryan did not open the file. At first. The message stayed on his phone screen, glowing softly in the dark room. New submission received. Story 30. It was 3:17 a.m. Ryan sat on the edge of his bed, breathing slowly. His new apartment was small, clean, and far from the old place. He had chosen it because it had no long hallways and no history. He had stopped editing horror videos. He worked a normal job now. He slept normal hours. Or he was supposed to. The lights flickered once. Ryan closed his eyes. Not again, he whispered. The phone buzzed. Another message. You closed the stories. You did not end them. Ryan stood up and turned on every light in the apartment. Nothing moved. No shadows stretched. No sounds came from the walls. He walked to the kitchen and poured a glass of water. His hands shook. "This isn't real," he said out loud. "It's just fear." The phone buzzed again. Story 30 is different. Ryan laughed, short and sharp. "No," he said. "I'm done." He put the phone face down and walked away. Behind him, the TV turned on. The screen showed static, then cleared. It showed a familiar folder. Top 29 True Horror Stories Animated, Compilation of 2026. Ryan's heart dropped. "That video doesn't exist," he said. "I deleted it." The TV menu scrolled by itself. A new title appeared at the bottom. Story 30, The One Who Tried to Leave. The room felt colder. Ryan backed away slowly. "I didn't agree to this." A voice answered, not from the TV, not from the walls, but from everywhere. "You never had to." The screen played. The animation style was rougher this time, darker. It showed a man moving into a new apartment. It showed him trying to live a normal life. It showed him ignoring messages at 3:17 a.m. It showed Ryan. Ryan grabbed the remote and threw it. The TV flickered but stayed on. In the animation, the man's phone buzzed. In real life, Ryan's phone buzzed at the same time. The animated Ryan turned toward the camera. "You can't close a story that's still being told," he said. The real Ryan shouted, "Stop it!" The animation paused. The voice spoke again, calmer now. Almost gentle. "The first 29 were memories," it said. "Story 30 is now." The lights dimmed. The walls of the apartment felt farther apart, like the room was stretching. The air hummed softly, the way it had before. Ryan remembered what had worked last time. Choice. He ran to his laptop and opened it. The screen turned on instantly, already displaying a familiar menu. Select a story to close. Only one option was available. Story 30. Ryan clicked it. Nothing happened. The voice laughed quietly. "You can't close the present." The TV showed something new. It showed a list of comments under the compilation video. People were watching. People were typing. "Why does this feel real? I watched this at 3:17 a.m. and my lights flickered. My phone buzzed when story 29 ended." Ryan understood. The stories were spreading. The more people watched, the more doors opened. "You need an ending," Ryan said slowly. "That's what you want." "Yes," the voice replied. "An ending that keeps going." Ryan thought fast. His mind raced through everything he had learned. Stories needed listeners. Stories needed fear. But they also needed belief. Ryan opened a new file. Not an animation. A recording. He hit record and began to speak. "My name is Ryan Miller," he said, voice steady even though his heart pounded. "I created the compilation called Top 29 True Horror Stories Animated, Compilation of 2026. But this is not a horror story." The lights flickered harder. The voice hissed, "Stop." Ryan kept going. "This is about fear. And fear only works when you listen." The TV image warped. Faces pressed against the screen, silent and angry. Ryan spoke louder. "If you are watching this, close the video. Turn it off. Don't wait for the end." The apartment shook. The voice roared, "They won't listen." "Then you lose," Ryan shouted back. "Because stories without listeners disappear." The TV screens around the room, Ryan didn't remember having more than one, began to crack. The animated faces faded. The menu glitched. Story 30, weakening. Ryan felt something pull at his chest, like cold fingers trying to hold him in place. He fought it and kept talking. "There are no more stories," he said. "This is the last one." The voice screamed, loud and broken, filled with many voices speaking at once. "You are the ending." Ryan nodded, tears in his eyes. "Then I accept it." He reached for the laptop and typed one final command. "Delete compilation." The screen froze. The room went completely silent. For one long second, nothing existed but Ryan's breathing. Then the lights went out. When they came back on, the apartment was normal. The TV was off. The laptop was empty. No folders. No files. Ryan collapsed onto the floor, exhausted. Morning came. Days passed. The video disappeared from the channel. People stopped commenting. No more messages arrived at 3:17 a.m. Ryan believed it was over. Until months later, while scrolling online, he saw a new upload from a different channel. The title made his blood run cold. Top 30 True Horror Stories Animated, Compilation of 2027. The thumbnail loaded slowly. It showed a man sitting at a desk, turning toward the camera. Ryan's face. The video length showed 2 hours 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Almost 3 hours. Ryan dropped his phone. From somewhere deep inside the apartment, a soft sound began. A familiar sound. Like a progress bar starting to move. And far away, a voice whispered, excited and patient at the same time. "Let's begin again."